Vice President Pence, ladies and gentlemen, may I extend a very warm welcome to Vice President and Mrs. Karen Pence to Singapore. We last met at the White House last year in October when President Trump very kindly hosted me to lunch. And I'm very happy that the Vice President is now here for his first visit as Vice President, and I think first visit ever to Singapore.
It is.
We've had a very productive discussion this morning. We reaffirm the robust and enduring partnership between Singapore and the US. It's a deep and wide relationship with close cooperation in many areas, including economic, defense, and security. Our leaders and our officials visit regularly in both directions. This, of course, includes, notably, President Trump coming to Singapore earlier this year for the summit with North Korea. And also other members of his administration, like the Secretary of Defense, James Mattis, and the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, who come here very often, including for the Shangri-La Dialogue. The United States plays an important and constructive role in our region, and hence Singapore hopes to continue developing our ties with the US, as well as to strengthen the ASEAN-US relationship. Already on security, we are close partners. Singapore is the US's major security cooperation partner. I think we are the only country with this designation. We provide support for the US's military presence and defense engagements in the region, including rotational deployment of US aircraft and Navy ships. And there are over 1,000 Singapore Armed Forces military personnel training in the US every year. We work closely too on security cooperation, including transnational security, terrorism, and cybersecurity. Singapore has lent early and consistent support to the Defeat ISIS coalition, including most recently deploying a counter-terrorism training unit to Iraq in September. Our intelligence agencies cooperate very closely, and that cooperation has only strengthened as our counter-terrorism efforts have progressed over the years. Economically, our cooperation is dynamic and robust. The US-Singapore FTA has been a cornerstone of our economic partnership. Goods and services trade has more than doubled since the US FTA came into force, and currently the US has a trade surplus with Singapore of more than $20 billion a year. Singapore is the second largest Asian investor in the US, with our companies and investments in more than 30 US states, including in Indiana, Vice President Pence's home state. Our investments in the US and the US exports to Singapore support more than 250,000 American jobs. The US is Singapore's largest foreign investor, with nearly 4,500 American companies here, many basing their Asian headquarters here in order to do business in the region. For example, Honeywell opened its first industrial cybersecurity center of excellence in Asia here in April. And Johnson & Johnson, which is opening its first design lab outside New York here in Singapore too. Even Shake Shack is opening its first burger outlet in Singapore very soon, which is the most important investment of all. Although our bilateral relationship is already comprehensive, we are still uncovering new ways to cooperate. For example, in energy, advanced manufacturing, and technology partnerships through the US-Singapore Collaboration Platform, MOU, which we have just renewed. I also welcome the conclusion of a Tax Information Exchange Agreement and Reciprocal Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, FATCA, intergovernmental agreement, which will strengthen our tax cooperation. I'm pleased that our cybersecurity agency and the US State Department will be working together on a technical assistance program to conduct cybersecurity training workshops in Singapore and also regionally. Our friendship is underpinned by growing people-to-people ties. More than 4,000 students from Singapore study in the US universities and colleges every year, including Bloomington, Indiana, and Purdue University, which are popular among Singaporeans. Singapore and American undergraduates have also undertaken exchanges under the US-Singapore Summer Exchange Scholarship Program, which was launched in 2016 to commemorate the 50th anniversary of our bilateral relations. I'm confident that our strong and mature bilateral relationship will continue to strengthen at all levels. And I look forward to seeing Vice President Pence again next year when I hope to visit the United States. Thank you, Vice President.